Have you ever wondered if certain numbers could change your reality? What if I told you that a simple 4-digit code, 7284, holds the power to transform your life in just 72 hours? It sounds impossible, perhaps even ridiculous at first glance. But what if these 4 seemingly random digits are actually an ancient key, a forgotten language spoken by those who understood how to bend the very fabric of our existence? Throughout history, mystics and spiritual teachers have whispered about hidden codes and sacred sequences. But this one is different. People across the globe are reporting extraordinary changes after using it. Unexpected money appearing, soulmate connections forming, health issues resolving mysteriously. Has this ever happened to you, where something you couldn't explain rationally somehow altered your path completely? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. The truth is, your conscious mind is only the gatekeeper to something far more powerful, your subconscious. And while words can be analyzed, questioned, and filtered by your logical mind, numbers operate differently. They slip past those mental barriers, creating direct pathways to the deeper parts of your consciousness, where reality truly takes form. Think about it. How often have you noticed certain numbers appearing repeatedly in your life? Those 11:11 moments on the clock, or patterns that seem to follow you. Your subconscious mind has been speaking to you all along through the language of numbers, but most of us have forgotten how to listen. What makes 7284 so special isn't just the digits themselves, but how they interact with your mind when spoken in the right state of consciousness. Each number carries a specific vibrational signature. 7 resonates with inner wisdom and spiritual awakening. 2 with harmony and balance. 8 with abundance and manifestation. And 4 with stability and foundation. Together, they form a powerful key that unlocks the creative force within you. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to discover might surprise even the most skeptical among you. I'm going to reveal exactly how to use this ancient sequence in a simple ritual that takes less than 2 minutes before sleep. That twilight moment when your conscious defenses are down and your subconscious mind is most receptive. Scientists are only now beginning to understand what ancient wisdom traditions have known for millennia. That the human mind operates on frequencies and that certain patterns can alter those frequencies dramatically. In neurolinguistic programming and brainwave research, they found that the theta state, that drowsy state just before sleep, is when our minds are most malleable, most open to reprogramming. The 7284 code works within this precise window, bypassing years of limiting beliefs and speaking directly to the part of you that creates reality. I've seen it work for thousands of people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all belief systems. Because this isn't about belief, it's about accessing the universal language of consciousness itself. What would your life look like if the barriers between you and your desires suddenly dissolved? What if the universe began conspiring in your favor, bringing precisely what you need exactly when you need it? The ancient sequence we're about to explore isn't just a manifestation technique. It's a doorway to remembering who you truly are. Subscribe now to unlock more powerful codes and secrets that can transform your reality. This is just the beginning of what's possible. You're not alone in this journey of discovery. What began as whispers in obscure corners of the internet has grown into a global awakening. The 7284 sequence first emerged in anonymous forums, places where people felt safe sharing their most profound experiences without judgment. One person would cautiously admit that after repeating these numbers before sleep, their chronic pain vanished. Another would reveal how a job opportunity materialized from nowhere. Soon, thousands of testimonials formed a tapestry of transformation too compelling to ignore. What's fascinating about these hidden revelations isn't just the results, but the similarities in how people describe the process. That sense of inner knowing, the shift in energy that precedes external change. Many report the same pattern. Within 72 hours of beginning the practice, subtle synchronicities appear, followed by more tangible manifestations. A text from someone they'd been thinking about, an unexpected refund, a solution to a problem that had seemed insurmountable. The origins of the code itself remain shrouded in mystery. Some trace it back to ancient numerological systems, others to quantum physics principles that suggest consciousness directly influences reality. But the beauty lies in its simplicity. No expensive courses, no complicated rituals, just 4 numbers spoken with intention in that precious moment between wakefulness and sleep. This isn't just another mindset technique or visualization exercise. The decision to work with these numbers represents a fundamental shift in how you relate to the universe itself. You're reclaiming a forgotten birthright, the ability to consciously participate in creating your reality rather than merely reacting to circumstances. What makes this community different is the absence of dogma. People from every religious background, skeptics and believers alike, have found that these numbers work regardless of their initial belief system. It's as if the code itself bypasses the thinking mind and speaks directly to something more fundamental in our consciousness. One woman in Barcelona reported that after 3 nights of the practice, she received a call about a job she'd applied for months earlier, one she'd given up on. A man in Toronto described how, after a week, he finally broke through a creative block that had plagued him for years. A teacher in Melbourne found that the chronic insomnia she'd battled for a decade simply dissolved. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring exactly how these numbers interact with your subconscious mind. The mechanism behind this phenomenon is both simpler and more profound than most people realize. Each number in the sequence serves a specific function in reprogramming your inner reality, and once that inner shift occurs, your outer world has no choice but to reflect it. If you're resonating with what you're hearing so far, write "I feel the sequence calling" in the comments below. There's something powerful about declaring your readiness to receive this knowledge. To truly grasp the power of the 7284 sequence, we need to journey back through time. This code didn't emerge from nowhere. It resonates deeply with ancient wisdom traditions that have understood the sacred geometry of creation for millennia. The Pythagoreans believed numbers weren't just mathematical concepts, but the very essence of reality itself. Pythagoras taught his disciples that all is number, that numerical patterns reveal the hidden architecture of the universe. Similarly, in Kabbalistic teachings, numbers contain divine energies, each with specific vibrations that can unlock different dimensions of consciousness. When we examine the 7284 code through these ancient lenses, remarkable patterns emerge. The sequence contains profound mathematical relationships that appear throughout nature. The same ratios found in everything from the spiral of galaxies to the structure of DNA. These revelations suggest we're not dealing with a modern invention, but rather the rediscovery of something timeless. A master key that has been hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right moment in humanity's evolution to resurface. The breakthrough came through an unexpected channel. The first well-documented case traces back to a woman in Argentina named Elena, who experienced what can only be described as a profound awakening. During a lucid dream, that rare state where you're conscious within the dream world, she encountered a presence that communicated directly to her consciousness. The message was simple yet cryptic. Speak these numbers to unlock the gate, 7284. Elena had no background in numerology or mystical practices. She was a practical person facing very real challenges, a relationship that had turned toxic, mounting financial pressure, and health issues that conventional medicine couldn't resolve. With nothing to lose, she followed the instruction from her dream, repeating the sequence just before falling asleep that night. Click subscribe to join thousands of others who are awakening to their manifestation abilities. Your journey into deeper consciousness starts here. What happened next transformed her understanding of reality. Within 3 days, events began unfolding with uncanny precision. The toxic relationship that had seemed impossible to leave resolved itself when her partner suddenly announced he was moving away. A business opportunity appeared through a random encounter with someone she hadn't seen in years. Most surprisingly, her chronic migraines, which had plagued her for decades, simply vanished. The pathway to transformation wasn't always comfortable. It rarely is. But the barriers that had seemed so insurmountable in her life began dissolving, replaced by a sense of flow and alignment she'd never experienced before. Elena's journey illustrates a fundamental truth about this practice. It doesn't always bring what you think you want, but it inevitably brings what you truly need. The decisions we make in moments of openness can alter our entire trajectory. Elena chose to trust that mysterious voice, to take that leap into the unknown, and that choice became the catalyst for profound change. Her willingness to embrace this hidden truth allowed her to break through limitations that had defined her existence for years. If you've ever experienced a dream or intuition that felt more real than ordinary life, type, "I trust my inner knowing" in the comments. There's something powerful about acknowledging those moments when your deeper self tries to communicate. Elena's experience wasn't an isolated phenomenon. It was a rediscovery of principles that spiritual teachers have understood for centuries. Florence Scovel Shinn, the revolutionary metaphysical teacher from the early 20th century, unveiled these same truths decades ago through her transformative work. While she may not have spoken specifically about the 7284 sequence, she understood the fundamental mechanism behind its power. Shinn recognized that our subconscious mind, that vast, hidden realm beneath our everyday awareness, doesn't respond to logical arguments or intellectual persuasion. Instead, it speaks the language of symbols, rhythm, and feeling. This revelation completely shifts the paradigm of how we create change in our lives. Most of us have been taught to think our way through problems, to use willpower and discipline to force results. But Shinn revealed a more elegant path, one that works with the natural architecture of our consciousness rather than against it. The subconscious, she taught, is impressionable like a child's mind. It doesn't judge or analyze. It simply accepts what's emotionally impressed upon it. This is why conventional affirmations often fail. They're merely words without the emotional charge needed to penetrate the deeper layers of mind. But when we combine rhythm, repetition, and genuine feeling, we create a doorway through which new realities can emerge. The journey toward authentic change begins not with struggling harder, but with understanding the invisible laws governing our experience. Behind the scenes of your conscious awareness, a powerful creative process is always at work. Every feeling state you inhabit becomes the blueprint for what manifests in your physical reality. Shinn called this the law of assumption. What you genuinely feel to be true must eventually express itself in your outer world. This understanding reveals why the 7284 code works with such precision. The numbers themselves serve as carriers for intention, bypassing the analytical mind that would otherwise block transformation. And when spoken in that twilight state between wakefulness and sleep, when the conscious mind's resistance is naturally lowered, they sink directly into the fertile soil of the subconscious. The impact of this practice goes far beyond manifesting specific outcomes, though that certainly happens. What truly changes is your entire relationship with reality itself. You begin to recognize yourself not as a passive recipient of circumstances, but as the active creator of your experience. This mindset shift alone creates ripple effects throughout every dimension of your life. Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized that this work isn't about forcing change through mental gymnastics. It's about aligning with what she called the game of life, recognizing that creation happens through feeling, not thinking. When we operate from this level of understanding, we move from struggling against reality to dancing with it. The universe no longer appears as an obstacle, but as a responsive mirror reflecting our deepest beliefs and assumptions. If you've ever experienced a moment where your feelings seem to shape your reality, whether positively or negatively, write "I am the creator" in the comments. Acknowledging this creative power is the first step toward using it consciously. Now, I want to go even deeper into what makes this sequence so uniquely powerful. To truly understand the 7284 code, we need to transcend our conventional understanding of numbers as mere mathematical concepts. In reality, numbers are living frequencies, vibrational patterns that carry specific energetic signatures and qualities that influence consciousness in predictable ways. This perspective isn't new, it's actually ancient wisdom rediscovered. Pythagoras, often called the father of mathematics, taught his initiates that numbers weren't just tools for counting, but the fundamental building blocks of reality itself. Number is the within of all things, he declared. His mystery school understood that numerical patterns formed the invisible architecture behind everything from music to astronomy to human psychology. Modern quantum physics is now catching up to this understanding, revealing that at its core, reality is composed of vibrational patterns rather than solid matter. Everything, from the chair you're sitting on to your thoughts and emotions, exists as frequency first before manifesting as physical experience. This revelation transforms our approach to manifestation completely. When we work with specific numerical sequences, we're actually engaging with the primal language of creation. The journey into this code begins with the number 7, perhaps the most mystical of all single digits. Across virtually every spiritual tradition, 7 represents the seeker, the spiritual mind, the gateway to higher consciousness. It's the number of completion in many traditions, 7 days of creation, 7 chakras, 7 heavens. But its true power lies in how it affects your awareness. When you speak the number 7 with presence and intention, especially in that receptive state between wakefulness and sleep, something remarkable happens. Unlike other numbers that might activate more practical energies, 7 opens the intuitive centers of consciousness. It creates an immediate shift from analytical thinking to receptive awareness, a gentle invitation rather than a forced entry into the subconscious mind. This is crucial because manifestation isn't about wrestling your subconscious into submission. It's about creating the right conditions for natural unfolding. The 7 vibration creates a reverential opening, a sacred doorway through which your intentions can flow without resistance. It prepares your entire being for the transformational sequence that follows. The breakthrough in understanding that 7 provides is recognizing that your intuitive mind is actually the more powerful creator. Your analytical thinking is limited by what you already know, but your intuition connects you to infinite intelligence, the wisdom behind all creation. By beginning with 7, you're essentially signaling to your deeper mind, I'm not forcing this. I'm inviting wisdom beyond my conscious understanding to guide this process. This shift in approach alone can revolutionize your manifestation practice. Rather than struggling against your subconscious patterns, you're aligning with the natural architecture of consciousness itself. The Melma pathway opens not through effort, but through alignment with the hidden order of things. If you've noticed the number 7 appearing repeatedly in your life, perhaps on clocks, license plates, or receipts, type "The 7 Gateway is opening" in the comments. These synchronicities are often the first sign that your consciousness is beginning to work with numerical frequencies in a more intentional way. After opening the gateway with 7, the sequence continues with the number 2, a frequency that operates in a completely different yet complementary manner. While 7 creates the opening, 2 establishes harmony between opposing forces within your consciousness. This numerical vibration represents duality, balance, and the sacred union of apparent opposites. Think about the fundamental divisions we experience: conscious and subconscious mind, masculine and feminine energies, logical and intuitive thinking. The hidden truth behind manifestation is that these seeming opposites must be brought into alignment. Before creation can unfold naturally, the 2 frequency serves as a living bridge between these polarities, particularly between your conscious intentions and your subconscious beliefs. When you speak the number 2 in this sequence, you're essentially creating an inner environment where resistance dissolves. It's like holding up a perfect mirror to your inner world, one that allows you to see beyond the surface, thinking into the deeper patterns that actually generate your reality. The transformation happens not through force, but through recognition and integration. Many manifestation practices fail precisely because they don't address this crucial step. They focus entirely on conscious desire without creating harmony with the subconscious mind, where your true creative power resides. The two vibration naturally resolves this inner conflict, preparing your entire being for the powerful activation that follows. Moving to the next phase of the sequence, we encounter the number 8, perhaps the most dynamically powerful digit in numerology. Visually resembling the infinity symbol turned vertical, 8 represents unlimited abundance, momentum, and the cyclical nature of energy. This is where the real engine of manifestation ignites. The 8 vibration serves as the cosmic bridge between the unseen world of potential and the tangible world of physical experience. It's the number of action, of cause and effect, of energy in motion. When you invoke this frequency after establishing the gateway, 7, and harmony, 2, you're essentially activating the manifestation process with tremendous force. The impact of 8 on your consciousness is profound. It shifts your energy from receptive to generative, from potential to kinetic. The decisions you've made internally begin to externalize through this numerical frequency. Where you might have felt stuck before, 8 creates forward momentum, breaking through stagnation and crystallized patterns. This explains why many people report sudden shifts in their external reality within days of beginning this practice. The 8 frequency doesn't just suggest change, it demands it. It creates a vacuum substantial from seed to full flowering. For those who practice the 7-2-84 sequence and don't experience the changes they desire, there's a specific reason that has nothing to do with failure or unworthiness. The challenge isn't that the code doesn't work, it's that contradictory programming in the subconscious creates mixed signals that block clear manifestation. Think of it like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. No matter how powerful the vehicle, this internal conflict prevents forward momentum. Your subconscious mind holds accumulated beliefs, identities, and assumptions, many formed decades ago, that may directly contradict the new frequency you're attempting to establish. When you speak the 7284 code with the intention of abundance while unconsciously holding beliefs like, money is scarce, or I don't deserve wealth, these competing signals create a state of energetic stalemate rather than clear manifestation. This understanding transforms our entire approach to the manifestation journey. The lack of results isn't punishment or evidence that you're doing something wrong. It's valuable feedback, revealing where unconscious programming still needs to be addressed. These moments of apparent failure are actually invitations to deeper awareness, showing you exactly where internal alignment is needed before external change can manifest. The mindset shift that makes all the difference is recognizing that contradictions don't mean the process isn't working. They mean it's working perfectly by revealing what needs to be harmonized within your consciousness. Every belief, every identity, every emotional pattern that contradicts your conscious intention will naturally rise to the surface when you begin this practice. This isn't an obstacle, but a crucial part of the transformation. If you've ever felt like you're sending mixed signals to the universe, consciously wanting one thing while unconsciously fearing or resisting it, write, "I'm ready for alignment" in the comments. This recognition is the first step toward resolving the internal contradictions that delay manifestation. Now, I want to go even deeper into why the 7284 sequence sometimes appears not to work for certain individuals. The revelation that transforms your entire approach is this: you cannot bring the new reality into your experience while secretly clinging to old beliefs. Even if you consciously desire change, your subconscious mind, which generates your reality moment by moment, responds not to your words, but to your dominant emotional state and deepest assumptions. This explains why speaking the code from a place of desperation, anxiety, or disbelief often yields minimal results. When you repeat 7284 while internally feeling, this probably won't work, or I need this to happen or else. You're sending profoundly mixed signals to your creative subconscious. It's like planting a seed while simultaneously telling it not to grow. The words say one thing, but the feeling state communicates something entirely different. The subconscious doesn't respond to intellectual concepts or verbal affirmations. It responds to the emotional frequency you consistently embody. You can't speak abundance while vibrating at the frequency of lack. You can't invite love while resonating with unworthiness. You can't manifest health while identifying with illness. The words themselves carry little power compared to the emotional state from which they're spoken. This understanding revolutionizes how you approach the practice. Instead of treating the 7284 sequence as a magical formula that works regardless of your state of being, recognize it as a tool for tuning your frequency, for aligning your entire consciousness with a new assumption about reality. The ritual isn't forcing change against resistance, but creating internal coherence that allows natural unfolding. The journey of transformation isn't about making things happen through willpower or desperation. It's about becoming the version of yourself who already has what you desire, who already embodies the frequency of that reality. When you speak the code from that aligned state rather than from need or urgency, you're not asking for something external to change. You're declaring an internal shift that the outer world must eventually reflect. This subtle distinction completely transforms your results. Instead of approaching the practice with the mindset of, I need this to work because my current reality is unacceptable, you enter it with the feeling that, I am aligning with what already exists in potential, regardless of current appearances. The first creates resistance. The second creates flow. Behind the scenes of manifestation, this alignment is what makes all the difference. The reason Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings have endured for nearly a century is that she understood this fundamental principle. It's not your words, but your embodied state that creates your reality. The 7284 sequence simply provides a focused pathway for establishing and maintaining that embodied state long enough for external reality to reorganize around it. If you've noticed that things seem to manifest more easily when you're not desperately trying to make them happen, write alignment before action in the IAIOS comments. This recognition of how your internal state shapes external results is the key to mastering this powerful practice. Now, I want to go even deeper into how reality responds when you've successfully impressed this new frequency upon your subconscious mind. Chapter 8 reveals something profound about the nature of manifestation itself, something that transforms how you interpret the changes that begin appearing in your life after working with the 7284 sequence. When you speak this code with genuine feeling and aligned belief, you're not just asking for something external to change. You're impressing a new state of being upon your consciousness. And here's the revelation that changes everything. The outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself to reflect this inner shift. It's not a matter of if, but when and how. Your external reality is ultimately just a mirror reflecting back your dominant internal state. But here's where many become confused and miss the signs of transformation. Reality rarely unfolds exactly as we imagine it should. The path from impression to manifestation is rarely linear or predictable. The subconscious mind, which Florence Scovel Shinn recognized as infinitely more intelligent than our conscious mind, chooses the most efficient and often surprising path to manifest our desires. A path that frequently looks nothing like what we would have consciously designed. This is why so many become discouraged when working with manifestation practices. They speak the code with clear intention for a new job, for example, only to experience what initially appears to be the opposite, perhaps being let go from their current position. What looks like loss is often the necessary clearing for something far better to enter. What seems like a step backward is frequently the most direct path forward. The hidden truth behind all manifestation is that endings often precede new beginnings. Relationships that no longer align with your new frequency may dissolve. Opportunities that don't reflect your true potential might disappear. Circumstances that kept you comfortably stuck may suddenly shift. These aren't signs of failure, but of powerful realignment occurring beneath the surface of your awareness. Florence Scovel Shinn warned her students against trying to figure out how their manifestations would occur. She understood a profound principle that modern manifestation teachers often miss. The conscious mind, with its limited perspective, cannot possibly engineer the most effective path to fulfillment. The subconscious, connected to what she called infinite intelligence, sees possibilities and pathways invisible to our everyday awareness. This understanding transforms how you navigate the changes that begin appearing after working with the 7284 code. Instead of resisting unexpected developments or judging them as wrong, you recognize them as part of a larger pattern of reorganization. Your job isn't to micromanage the process or force specific outcomes, but to maintain the frequency of your desire, fulfilled regardless of appearances. The journey requires a profound surrender, not of your desire itself, but of your attachment to how it should manifest. The transformation isn't happening despite unexpected changes, but through them. Every shift in your external reality, whether initially perceived as positive or negative, is part of the bridge being built between your previous state and the new reality you're calling forth. If you've ever received exactly what you wanted, but in a completely unexpected way that turned out to be far better than what you had imagined, write divine redirection in the comments. This recognition of how manifestation often unfolds through surprising pathways is key to mastering this practice. Now, I want to go even deeper into what might be the most profound revelation about the 7284 practice, and about manifestation itself. The hidden truth that transforms everything is this: you are not actually manifesting a thing or circumstance. You are becoming a version of yourself who already has it. This distinction completely revolutionizes your approach to reality creation. Most people approach manifestation as an acquisitive process, trying to get something they currently lack. They focus on the absence of their desire and work to fill that perceived gap. But this approach creates an energetic contradiction. By focusing on the lack, they actually reinforce it, regardless of what words or techniques they use. The 7284 sequence operates on an entirely different principle. When spoken with aligned feeling in that receptive state before sleep, these numbers help you shift your very identity, not just your thoughts or beliefs, but your fundamental sense of who you are. You begin resonating with the version of yourself who already embodies and experiences your desire as reality. This is the great reversal in consciousness that Florence Scovel Shinn taught. Be before you do, and you will do because of what you are. The ordinary mind demands to see before believing, but the creative mind believes first and then sees. The shift happens first in identity, then in perception, and finally in circumstance, never the other way around. The transformation this understanding creates is nothing short of miraculous. Let me share some real-world journeys of people who have embraced this principle through the 7284 practice. These aren't hypothetical examples, but actual experiences shared by individuals who decided to test this approach for themselves. Maya was facing eviction with no apparent way out. Her financial situation seemed hopeless, and conventional solutions had failed. After discovering the 7284 sequence, she began practicing it nightly, not from desperation, but from a decision to embody the frequency of security and abundance despite current appearances. On the third day, she received a call about a remote position she'd applied for, months earlier, but had given up on. The salary covered her needs perfectly, allowing her to not only keep her home, but begin rebuilding her financial stability. Leo carried heartbreak for 2 years after a relationship ended, feeling stuck in grief and unable to open to new connections. He approached the 7284 practice with initial skepticism, but committed to it for a week. Rather than focusing specifically on finding new love, he worked on embodying the frequency of wholeness and joy independent of relationship status. By day 5, he felt a noticeable internal shift, a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in years. That same day, he met someone new at a cafe he had been deliberately avoiding because it reminded him of his ex. Rosa had abandoned her artistic passion after years of self-criticism and doubt. She used the 7284 sequence with the intention of reconnecting with her creative essence, regardless of external validation. After just 2 weeks of the practice, she spontaneously began painting again, experiencing a flow state she had never known before. Shortly afterward, she received an unexpected invitation to showcase her work at a local gallery, an opportunity she hadn't sought out, but that aligned perfectly with her newly embodied creative identity. If you've ever noticed that your biggest breakthroughs came only after you changed how you saw yourself rather than just changing your actions, write "Identity precedes reality" in the comments. This recognition of the true order of manifestation is the key to mastering this powerful practice. Now, I want to go even deeper into what these stories truly reveal about the transformative power of this practice. What happened with Maya, Leo, and Rosa wasn't the result of magical thinking or random cosmic favors. These weren't mystical accidents or inexplicable miracles. Their experiences demonstrate something much more profound: the natural and inevitable consequence of shifting one's internal state of being. When we examine these journeys closely, we see a consistent pattern emerging. Each person moved beyond merely repeating numbers and actually embodied a new frequency, a different quality of consciousness. And that shift in state naturally reorganized their external reality to match it. This is precisely what Florence Scovel Shinn taught decades ago. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. The evidence isn't just in these individual stories, but in the consistent pattern of transformation that emerges across thousands of experiences. When someone genuinely shifts their self-concept through this practice, their world shifts in response, not as a supernatural event, but as the natural operation of consciousness expressing itself through physical reality. The external always mirrors the internal. It cannot do otherwise. This understanding liberates us from magical thinking entirely. We no longer need to believe that certain numbers or rituals have inherent power over our lives. Instead, we recognize that these tools serve as bridges to our own creative capacity, as pathways back to our innate ability to shape reality through consciousness. The 7284 sequence isn't causing the change. It's facilitating your return to the state of being that naturally creates what you desire. And this brings us to the ultimate revelation in the final chapter of this journey. The shift is you becoming the living code. The profound truth hidden behind this entire practice is that the power was never in the numbers themselves. It was always in your own creative consciousness, your ability to embody specific frequencies that the universe must mirror back to you. The 7284 sequence simply provides a structured pathway back to your center, your rhythm, your natural manifestation abilities. It helps you bypass the analytical mind that keeps you stuck in old patterns and reconnects you with the part of yourself that creates reality moment by moment through your assumptions and feeling states. Behind the scenes of your everyday awareness exists a profound creative power that has been there all along. It's not something you need to acquire or develop, but something you need to remember and embody. The journey of transformation isn't about becoming something you're not. It's about returning to what you've always been beneath the conditioning and limiting beliefs. This understanding completely transforms your relationship with reality itself. You begin to recognize that your external circumstances aren't happening to you, but through you, as expressions of your dominant state of consciousness. Every experience, relationship, and circumstance in your life is ultimately a reflection of the frequency you consistently embody. If you've ever had that moment of recognition that you are not at the mercy of circumstances but the creator of your experience, write "I am the code" in the comments. This awakening to your own creative nature is the ultimate purpose of this entire practice. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want to thank you for exploring this hidden language of consciousness with me. If what you've heard resonates with something deep inside you, that recognition that you are not separate from the creative power of the universe, but an expression of it, then this message found you at exactly the right moment. The 7284 sequence isn't just something to practice, it's something to embody. It's a reminder of the creative power that has been yours all along, waiting beneath the noise of everyday thinking. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, you might feel drawn to experience this ancient pathway for yourself. There's no pressure, no expectation, just an invitation to remember who you truly are. If you're finding value in these deeper explorations of consciousness, consider subscribing to join our community of awakened creators. Each week, we dive into these hidden truths that transform not just what you do, but who you are. This isn't just content. It's a conversation about the nature of reality itself and your place within it. If this message was meant specifically for you today, simply write "The Code Awakens" in the comments below. There's something powerful about declaring your readiness to step into this new understanding of your creative nature. And if this journey together has expanded your perspective in some way, a like on this video helps others discover these same truths. When they're ready for them, it's a small ripple that creates larger waves of awakening. I've prepared another exploration that takes this understanding even deeper. A video that reveals how these same principles can transform not just individual circumstances, but your entire relationship with reality. Click right here and continue this journey with me.